artistic at all?
I'm not sure. I'm just vertically disabled, so bear with me. Good morning, everyone. As Paul said, I'm Reverend Linda Alakido. My husband says that I tell a 5-minute story in 20 minutes, and today I've been challenged to tell a 90-minute story in 5 minutes. So set your watches and let's see how I do. I've been asked to focus on the emancipation and what inspired Robert Carter III. The story begins with the Carter family who came from Great Britain to the colonies in the early 1600s. Over time, the Carters would become a wealthy, prominent, powerful family in the colonies, making their name known in business, politics, law, and government. In 1726, Robert Carter served as the Royal Governor of Virginia. He amassed a great amount of land and also made his name known in the slave trade, both buying and selling slaves. Carter was known as a cruel slave owner who taught his peers how to control their slaves by mutilating them. In contrast, years later, his grandson, Robert Carter III, would be known as one of the most humane to his slaves in these parts. This is the Robert Carter I'll be referring to in the remainder of the story. Robert Carter's land ownership stretched from the Chesapeake Bay to the northern Shenandoah Valley. His 16 plantations spanned multiple counties in Virginia, including Fairfax, Loudoun, and Manassas. He was also one of the largest slaveholders in the colonies. Carter had what he referred to as a spiritual awakening. He converted from his grandfather's Anglican faith to his slaves' Baptist faith, being baptized in 1778. He would later explore other denominations: Presbyterian, Methodist, Anglican, and Catholic. He came to a deep understanding that his slaves were his brothers and that they would be his family eternally. His faith caused him to act on that conviction that no man should own another man. When his peers were fighting for freedom in the American Revolution and were advocating for liberty and justice for all, Carter thought they were sincere about justice for all. Regrettably, that was not the case. Today, you can stand where it is believed that Carter had a Baptist church built, one where black and white, slave and free, where his brothers could worship together. You will also stand in a cemetery where the discovery has been made of nearly 100 of those who were enslaved here, and one of those people who is interred in that cemetery is his own eldest son. You will not see markings on the gravestones, not even on his son's gravestone, because of Robert's conviction that all are equal in life and in death. In 1791, Carter signed his deed of gift and began the process of manumitting nearly 500 people, 70 years before the Civil War, making him probably the largest private emancipator in American history. He wrote, "I have for some time past been convinced that to retain them in slavery is contrary to the true principles of religion and justice, and that therefore it was my duty to manumit them." Carter provided his enslaved with money, transportation, land, tools, and he made certain that they had the skills to survive. I call that the first affirmative action plan. He wrote an intricate plan to free nearly 500 people. The names of 452 of those are recorded in the attachment to the deed. Robert Carter III died in 1804 and is buried in Baltimore, Maryland in an unmarked grave. In closing, we're here to celebrate, as Michelle said, freedom. Freedom came for white colonists with the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 1776. Freedom came for slaves in Vermont, the first state to free their enslaved in 1777. For those manumitted by Carter, freedom came in 1791, or freedom began, I should say, in 1791. On January 1st, 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation proclaimed the freedom of slaves in the 10 Confederate states that were still in rebellion. We're reminded today, on June 19, 1865, that enslaved in Texas were told they were free. I have two questions that I typically ask when I'm doing a tour, and I'll ask you those questions today. What if the founding fathers had the kind of awakening that Robert Carter had? What if everyone who visits this place comes to the same kind of awakening that Robert Carter had? Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. That was wonderful. So I mentioned that we really put a lot of the story together a little over a year ago and have been trying to tell the story through the interpretive signs, through the tours that Linda's been doing. But the story actually was known before that, and it was known by the Harris family, who has kept this, the knowledge of this in the family. And that was really the breadcrumbs that got us going on the historic research. So I'm going to ask Crystal Gaskins to come up next. She's a member of the Harris family and sort of the family historian. How about Crystal?
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, everyone. 232 years ago on August 1st of 1791, Robert Carter sat down and wrote that deed, giving us the emancipation that freed 500 plus enslaved people. Within those 500 people that were freed, there was the Harris family. The Harris family were a part of the Cancer and Leo plantations. Most of the Harris family stayed in the Fairfax and Prince William County areas. They owned land, they gardened. During the war, Jesse Harris received reparations from the war due to things was taken from his home, cattle and things like that. But today we recognize the Harris family in Centerville. But not only to remember them, but to learn that their contributions in the area stayed. The love that they had for the community, their family, just from the things that they did to try to help out the African American community here in Fairfax County and Prince William County. Charles Harris, Jesse Harris, Jemima Robinson Harris, they helped build Rock Hill School that was here in Fairfax County. George Harris, Anthony Bernard Harris helped build Cub Run Primitive Baptist Church, which is still in use today. We have Samuel Harris, who donated property for Mount Olive Baptist Church, and that's still in existence today. We have Jesse Harris, Obed Harris, that donated land for the Cub Run Memorial Garden Cemetery, which is not too far from here. It's on Nella Road, which is still in use by the family today. Elijah Harris, Alfred Spriggs Harris, Anthony Harris, William Henry Harris, Jesse Harris, Elizabeth Harris donated land for Compton Road during the road petition to build from Compton Road to Centerville Road, so that there was a way that they could travel through. All the contributions that the family had made did not even lead up to the greatest thing that we're standing on right now. And that was the contribution that Garnetta Harris made to donate the family land here for the park service to build the pool. So today I'd like to say thank you. I'd like to say in attendance, thank you. Can I have all of the Harris descendants that are here today raise your hand? Thank you.